Snowflakes drifted lazily through the air as four friends, Alex, Jake, Mia, and Sophie, stood at the base of a towering, snow-covered trail. It was early morning, and the rising sun cast a golden glow over the treetops, making the frozen landscape glisten like a scene from a fairy tale. Jake rubbed his hands together, his breath visible in the frigid air. All right, team, we're about to embark on an epic winter hike. Who's ready? Mia tightened her coat. Ready? Yes. Excited about freezing? Not so much. Sophie chuckled, adjusting the strap on her backpack. Alex, always the most prepared of the group, pulled out a map. The trail should take about 4 hours round trip if we keep a steady pace. We'll stop for lunch at the lookout point, then head back before it gets too late. With a collective nod, they started their ascent. The first stretch of the trail was gentle, winding through a dense forest of towering evergreens. Snow clung to the branches, and each step sent small puffs of white powder into the air. The ground beneath them was packed with a fresh layer of snow, their footprints marking a new path. The deeper they ventured, the quieter the world became. The usual sounds of rustling leaves and chirping birds were replaced by the soft crunch of snow beneath their boots. Every so often, a gust of wind sent flurries tumbling from the trees, creating tiny whirlwinds of ice crystals. Jake, always the adventurous one, walked a little ahead, testing the snow. I bet this place looks completely different in summer. Less snow, more bears, Alex replied with a grin. Sophie shivered. Let's not talk about bears, okay? They continued on, the path growing steeper. Mia huffed as she adjusted her backpack. Tell me again why we thought hiking up a mountain in winter was a good idea. Because the view is going to be worth it, Alex assured her. After another half hour of steady climbing, the trees began to thin, revealing glimpses of the valley below. They paused at a small clearing, where a frozen stream ran alongside the path. The surface was a perfect sheet of ice, smooth and glassy. Jake crouched down and tapped it. Think it's strong enough to walk on? Don't even think about it, Mia warned. Jake grinned, but heeded her advice. They took a short break, sipping hot tea from thermoses and enjoying the peaceful silence of the winter wilderness. As they pressed on, the trail became more challenging. The incline grew steeper, and the snow deepened, forcing them to lift their legs higher with each step. Their breaths came out in heavier clouds, but they pushed forward, determined to reach the lookout point. Then, without warning, the wind picked up, sending snow swirling around them. The temperature seemed to drop instantly, and visibility became more difficult. Whoa, Sophie said, tightening her scarf. That came out of nowhere. Alex checked the map. We're close. Maybe 10 more minutes. They pressed on, heads down against the wind. The once clear trail was now partially obscured by the fresh snowfall, making it harder to tell where the packed path ended. Jake, ever the risk-taker, took a step forward and suddenly sank knee-deep into the snow. Ah! Help! He yelped, flailing his arms as the others laughed. Mia reached out and pulled him up. I told you to be careful. You could have warned me before I stepped in, he grumbled. Finally, after one last push, they emerged onto the ridge. The wind howled around them, but the view was breathtaking. Below, the valley stretched endlessly, blanketed in untouched white. Frozen rivers snaked through the landscape, and the peaks of distant mountains stood against the pale winter sky. They stood in awe, taking in the beauty of the moment. This, Mia said, breathless, makes it all worth it. Jake pulled out his phone, snapping a few pictures. Proof that we conquered the mountain. They found a spot sheltered from the wind and unpacked their lunches.